250 public toilet operators and janitors. He noted that each year that World Toilet Day is celebrated highlights the importance of toilets and raises awareness about the 4.2 billion people living without access to safely managed sanitation. So imagine living without access to toilets. The UNICEF still rates Nigeria in among nations that are struggling with sanitation and open defecation. The last administration, that's the Buhari led administration, launched a Clean Nigeria campaign in 2018, aiming to make the country open defecation free by next year. But then we have just about a month and we're done with this here. Still, it's an issue that persists. All right, it remains a significant challenge. And like I said, the UNICEF uh, rates us among countries with the highest number of people practicing open defecation. So we should talk about it. The causes and solutions. We have a health educator in the house, Adigin Rachel Onyola. She's a health educator. She's joining us via phone this morning. Good morning, Rachel. Good to have you.
Good morning.
All right. How is the morning going for you? Yeah, all right. Good to have you. Good to have you with us. So, we're looking at open defecation this morning, Rachel. Yesterday was World Toilet Day. How did you celebrate World Toilet Day, by the way? Hello, Rachel.
Well, I created awareness. I spoke to people about sanitation and how we discussed how we can reduce open defecation because it's a very, very big problem in Nigeria
Yeah.
that the government is still trying hard to solve or to curb it at least a little bit to reduce the spread of infectious diseases.
Yeah, yeah. So, over time, when I had doctors on the program, they talked about some diseases that even spread more with the open defecation practice. We talk about cholera, he talks about diarrhea. So, all of these issues are interwoven, and this is really important. So, welcome once again, Rachel. Now, let's start from the causes of open defecation. Yeah. So, first of all, what is open defecation? Let's get that clear.
So open defecation is actually when you do the thing. When I say the thing is when you defecate anywhere else that is not the toilet because the toilet was created for us to be able to defecate safely and to keep the environment safe. But once you do not use the toilet and you defecate somewhere else that is not the toilet, it is actually open defecation.
Okay. So when you use the toilet, that's either urinating or when you uh, go to urinating on the roadside. Is that part of open defecation?
I would not say that is part of open defecation, but that is also not good for the community, for the environment. Open defecation is basically defecation. Defecation, that's when
Defecation.
we poo, when we shit.
Don't use that. Okay, that's not very demure. Okay, so now, well, we have to group it. One way or the other, urine too causes a lot of smell and discomfort. When a lot of people urinate in parks, on the road, let's say there's traffic, you just come down from your car and you just urinate on the road like that. I believe that happens too in Ibadan.
Is also one of the problems we have in Nigeria. I think that is even more rampant than open defecation because people feel that since they are not defecating, they can just do it anywhere, and it is very very bad.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Especially the fact that um
Diseases.
it transmits waterborne diseases.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so now we've talked about open defecation. You have said that it is this when you're just putting out waste from your body anywhere on the streets outside the toilets. So now, what are the primary causes of open? Yeah, outside the toilets. So, what are the primary causes of open defecation in urban and rural areas?
I will start by talking about urban areas. Urban areas actually have toilets, but because of overcrowding, let's use Lagos for example. Like when you visit some places in Lagos, you see how crowded the area is. You see how crowded the area is. So it's not actually comfortable for them to share toilets. So they don't feel it's more comfortable to do it somewhere else aside from the toilet. So
Come again.
we can
I
say
didn't. I
number
didn't get
one
that.
is
Overcrowding. Okay.
overcrowding. Yes.
All right. So what else would be the
Imagine
primary cause?
imagine two houses built together and they are given just like two toilets to use because they are trying to save the landlord might be trying to save space for sewage storage, like for the sewage storage. So
Yeah.
they build just like two toilets for two houses. How are they supposed to cope with that? So overcrowding can actually cause open defecation in urban areas.
Okay.
That's one of them. Then the other one is
No, but
the fact
but you
that
know,
people believe.
yeah, but not everywhere. Before you move on to the next primary cause, even in Lagos, we have the urban areas and we have the rural areas. Like for example, communities like Makoko and the rest. The reason for open defecation may not apply to Victoria Island or Ikoyi.
Yes, that was why I said one of the examples
Okay. All
of
right.
overcrowding.
Okay. All right. So go on with your
Okay,
next one.
so the other one that I'm going to talk about is the fact that people believe that when they share toilets, they are susceptible to diseases, which is very, very actually wrong and weird. The toilet was made to help curb diseases, but people feel when they share toilets, they are more exposed to diseases. So they prefer to just do their thing outside or somewhere else that is not the toilet. They feel that way nobody has used that space, nobody has done the thing in that space. So they feel they are more protected that way. So they don't use the toilets that was supposed to even protect them from diseases.
From
Do you understand
diseases.
what I said?
Yeah. So that's behavior. That's a behavioral challenge, right?
Yes, a very big challenge because in that in that in that aspect we are actually dealing with the mindset of the people. We're actually
Okay.
dealing with the mindset of the people because some people believe that they are they are more susceptible to diseases, more susceptible to infections when they use the toilet. Especially some ladies, they feel when they use the toilet, they sit on the WC and their private part is opened on the WC, so they feel more infections come into them.
You're
It's
very
actually very
detailed.
funny. I heard somebody say it. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I can hear you. I'm getting the details. Go on.
While discussing with somebody one time like that, I think that was in 2021, the lady was actually like, she doesn't like to use the WC. And I'm like, why? She said because she feels infections will rush into her private parts when she sits down. Like whenever she sits down on the WC, she feels
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
infection is actually entering into her.
Her
And I'm
body.
like, no, that is very wrong.
Hmm.
And if you feel that way, that does not mean you should resort to open defecation. I mean, we have antiseptics, we have toilet cleaners that you could have bought so that you will use it to protect yourself against all these your imaginary infections.
Hmm. Hmm. Makes sense.
So that's actually another cause of open defecation. This applies to actually both urban and rural area. I will
Okay.
expatiate more when I'm talking about the rural area.
All right. That's
Then
fine.
another cause in urban area will be mismanagement of toilets actually.
Okay.
So many people have toilets but they don't manage it well. I mean, when the WC was brought into the house, it would be sparkling white. But maybe like after some time, like after like 5 months, you see the brownish stain and all those things. Then people don't like to use the toilet that is already dirty. So
Hmm.
they feel to just resort to open defecation because that is a better option than.
Okay, so you're not
So
allowed to call
mismanagement
this
of.
line, please. If you want to call into the studio, you can call 0805 092 0927, and you're calling the line that is on air right now. So you can call 0805 092 0927 or 0705 890 4927. All right. So back to you, Rachel. You talked about overcrowding, behavioral challenge, and mismanagement of toilets. You were still talking about the mismanagement of the toilet.
Yes, yes. So our toilets are not properly managed. They are not properly managed. The people that open defecation is actually more common amongst the people of, let me say, middle class to low class, because you wouldn't see somebody in the upper class doing defecating all around, because they have this class, they have this very demure thing about themselves, so they wouldn't go around defecating. But this open defecation is actually very more common among the middle class and the lower class that are not able to afford proper toilets.
Mm.
Then the toilets in some houses, this is number four cause. This The toilets in some houses are despicable. Like, we are in the 20th century. Who still uses pit latrine?
People still use pit latrine. I think is that still
Yes,
done
people
because I think
do.
I saw that in Ibadan or something. Do they do that? Pit latrine.
The
Hello.
pit latrine I'm talking about now is not
Yeah.
even the cement one. It's almost like WC, but it's not WC. It's actually like a pit latrine.
Okay. All right.
It's a little bit covered, not very opened, but there's no seat. There's no way you can sit on that pit latrine.
Mm.
You
Okay.
know what
Yeah.
I'm
I
talking
think
about.
I
It's not like
understand you.
WC.
Yeah. I get what you're
It's not
saying.
like WC,
Okay.
but it's not a very opened pit latrine. So this would not even make a, imagine I come to a house to rent the house and I'm seeing pit latrine in the house.
Mm.
But I don't have any other choice than to open defecate, because they feel that's more better and more comfortable, because this particular pit latrine I'm talking about is very, very, very uncomfortable. Very uncomfortable.
Yeah. Okay. So you that one now would be landlords doing better in terms of building when they are building houses. Okay.
When they're toilets, they should always, always, like, make it a priority, because most landlords now just build houses to just make their own profit. They don't even care about the things that are in the house. They don't care about the safety of the people. Like,
Mm.
I've seen a house. This is digressing a little bit. I've seen a house where you enter the kitchen. From the kitchen, you enter the toilet, which is very, very uncouth. You know, like, you don't build houses like that.
Mm.
How would I enter the kitchen? Then from the kitchen, I enter the toilet. One door leads to the kitchen and the toilet, which is very, very improper.
Mm.
Very improper. Landlords don't pay attention to these things, maybe because they are trying to manage space or because they are trying to conserve resources, which is very, very bad for the environment and also for the health of the individuals.
Mm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, yeah. So, yeah, recently I think even the Lagos government demolished one house that I think it's a two-story building that had just one toilet or Pete's toilets, something like that. So, now that's another reason you've given. But what about access to lack of access to safe and private toilets and, looking at public toilets now? Where do you think the government comes in terms of the open defecation?
Hmm. Okay, I would say the governments have actually been trying, but it's not their best, but they are trying. The reason people don't go to the public toilets is because of the mismanagement. There are some public toilets you get into and you already feel yourself that you're going to get sick, because the toilets are so improperly managed.
Mm.
You see people, even in that public toilet, people open defecate. Once you step into the toilet, you see defecation, you see feces everywhere
Even
on the
within the
floor, which is
toilet.
very, very improper. So I think what the government can do to improve this, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Go on.
What the government can do to further improve this, because it's not just about opening public toilets. We know opening public toilets is also part of how to curb open defecation, but it's not just about opening toilets and making public toilets available, they have to also put people in charge that will make sure that these toilets are properly kept, that these toilets are well kept for the safe use of the citizens.
Mm. Okay.
Because many citizens don't go to public toilets. If you ask me, I would say I've only used the public toilet once. And the one time that I tried using it, it was very bad. It was very bad that I got sick the next week. I was actually traveling. That was why I resorted to using
To use it.
a public toilet. But the public toilet was so bad. But I managed because I was pressed.
Yeah, so you had to
It was
use
so
it.
bad. I tried cleaning things up as I don't like dirty places. So I tried cleaning things up before I used the toilet. But I still got sick
You got sick.
the next
All right.
week because there were flies all over the place and there were mosquitoes. There were a lot of insects.
Mm, mm. Okay, so now we've talked about the causes, Rachel. Uh, that's like you said, the public toilets will need to be managed. You talked about the behavior because it's beyond just putting people in it's beyond building public toilets, but also like putting the people to manage them. That's what you said. Because it's just sad that when people are traveling or even within states, you just come down from your car, you wee on the roadside, or you're traveling, you wee on the roadside, and then there's a lot of smell, and it's really really bad. But then some would also say, Rachel, that inadequate waste management is also a contributing reason for open defecation, because when you see that a place is already dirty, you just conclude in your mind that, okay, fine, this place is dirty, there are a pile of dirt there, so let me just add to the dirt, let me just come down and just wee here. Or it's a case of, okay, this part is clean. Okay, so you agree with that?
Exactly. That was one of the points I was going to talk about. Improper management of debt.
Okay.
Like government really needs to do much more, so much more on management of debt. Seriously. Because when you see people are actually psychological in a way that when they see a place that is neat, they keep it neat. But when they see somewhere that is dirty already, they don't feel like, since it's dirty, let me just add to it. They will clean it anyways. Or if they don't, their fault. People are psychological that way. They tend to compound this. They tend to find joy. I don't know if it's finding joy or finding comfort in compounding debt, which is very, very psychological, by the way, if you ask me.
Okay.
Like if you see somebody passing on the road with a sachet of water, like an empty sachet,
and
you see that they don't throw it. They don't throw it. Scientifically proven though, they don't throw it where it's dirty because they feel this place is already neat. But once they get to a place that is littered, they just feel they can add their own litter to it, which makes the place dirtier. So the government is the one that would help us to improve this waste management so that at least it will curb open defecation a little bit. When people don't see dirty places, they will not feel the essence to just go there and defecate.
Defecate, right?
Then I am going to talk about abandoned buildings too. People do this open defecation in abandoned buildings. Like in urban areas, people would not really go out on the streets and just do the thing. But once they see a building that looks abandoned, nobody is walking there, nothing, and it looks like it's already getting bushy, they just feel like they can go there and defecate. So the government should help us work on
the government should do their job.
Like,
you mean? Yeah, the government should step in and do what needs to be done as regards building public toilets and putting the right officials to manage the toilets, right? Okay, but now let's talk about how it impacts the environment, particularly water sources and soil quality. Because in some parts of Nigeria too, people openly defecate into the rivers, the same river that we get the fish from that we eat. People just go there, they are defecating there, they are cooking with that water. It happens in some parts of the country, especially in the south, where you have a lot of fishing going on. So Yeah. So what's the impact of open defecation now and on the environment?
So open defecation has so many impacts on the environment. When we talk about water sources, like in rural areas, I was going to talk about causes of open defecation in rural areas, but before then, most rural areas has rivers. I'm not saying all, but most has rivers and all these small water bodies where they go to take water for farming, for fishing, where they go for fishing, where they go to wash clothes and take their bath. But when you see that they want to defecate, they still go around that rural area to defecate, which is very, 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 very bad for our health in general, not just for the people in the rural area, because we know that from the rural ones, the people in the rural area are the ones that are doing this farming, and the water in that area is what they're using for farming, which in the first place affects everyone, even the people they are exporting the food to, because the water that they are using is already contaminated.
Mm. Mm. Okay.
The people in the rural area going to the bush, they defecate. Then, in fact, even if they don't defecate in the water body, it rains, and when the rain comes, it flushes the surface materials, and everything is flushed into the water bodies. Then from the small water bodies, it moves into the big water bodies, and like that, the infections, the contamination start
Mm. Yeah.
moving around.
Okay. All right.
And there's a saying that what you give to the environment is what you get back, which is a very, very true statement.
Okay.
Like the farmers now, they open defecate. If you go to most of these villages, they don't have WC. Most of these rural areas, they don't have WC. All they know about is open defecation,
Mm.
and that is their own proper way of open defecating. In fact, it's not a thing of shyness for them. It's not a thing of, some people might even be going to defecate and call their friends along that
Uh-uh.
let's go. I want to go. Yes,
Who
it's
does
not
that?
it's not a thing of shyness for them. It's normal. That's how they do it. When you get to their houses, they don't have
Yeah.
toilets.
Yeah.
What the only thing they have is bathroom, and the bathroom itself is not well constructed. It's just maybe like um this roofing sheet put together just to cover their nakedness when they are taking their bath. And
Okay.
the drainage system itself is not good. The water flows on the streets.
Mm.
In 20 in
Yeah.
2010, I went to the village with my grandpa.
Mm.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Go on.
In 2010, I went to the village with my grandpa, and when we got to the village, he said he was coming, that we should give him like 5 minutes, that he wants to do the do. And I'm like, where is the toilet? Where is the toilet? Because as a girl, I've been trained to be a very neat person. So when I see a dirty place, I'm like very irritated until the place is kept clean or I leave the place. So I don't feel comfortable in dirty areas. So I was asking, I was very curious, that where's the toilet that grandpa is going to use? Because back at home, grandpa has a WC, but in the village, he doesn't. He went into the bush and came back outside. I'm like, Grandpa, you went to the bush for what? He said he went to the state. He was like, see this small girl. What do you know? Grandpa, that's very wrong. This and
Okay.
this and that. But he said that is how they do it in the village.
Mm.
He said that is their own best method of of of
Open.
defecating.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
open
So
defecation is their.
yeah. Okay. So Rachel, now that this is a serious crisis in developing countries. Now Lagos state government is assuring that they will do something about it, and even like I said at the opening of the program, the last administration launched the Clean Nigeria campaign to tackle the issue of open defecation, saying that by next year, that's by 2025, we're going to see it come to the bare minimum or eradicate it totally. Because health experts have continuously talked about how The open defecation practice is associated with the waterborne diseases, like you said, cholera and diarrhea, and so many others that we get to see spread more during the rainy season, even. And environmentalists have, of course, talked about some of the environmental impacts of open defecation practice. And as much as we throw caution to the wind and think it's not a big deal, we get so comfortable doing it openly. Like you have said, Rachel, there are a lot of repercussions, for lack of a better term, associated with it, because what you give to the environment comes back to you at the end of the day. So now let's talk about the role of community engagement. What role do you think, before we even get to community engagement, what role can education and awareness campaigns play in changing the behaviors and reducing open defecation? Because you started off with the fact that, a lot of
people, and I'm the one they're saying, I'm a new face. They would not really listen to me. But once I talk to the community leaders and I motivate them to like carry everybody